Humanity truly considers itself the master of the Earth. We have built megacities, wrapped the planet in a network of satellite internet, and learned to gaze into the depths of the universe billions of light years away. But if you look at the map of our own home, you will discover a frightening truth. More than 70% of our planet is covered by water, and about 90% of that space remains an absolute impenetrable blind spot to us. Throughout human history, hundreds of people have walked in open space. 12 men have stood on the moon. But do you know how many people have descended to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the deepest, most lethal point on our planet? Only 5. Sending a rover 200 million kilometers away from Earth just to have it beam back a high-definition selfie turned out to be easier from modern science than lowering a video camera 11 kilometers down into our own ocean. The ocean is not just water. It is an aggressive, alien system that actively wages war against human technology. The abyss dissolves metal, jams radio signals, and stands ready to implode any of our vehicles in a fraction of a millisecond. Why did space surrender to us without a fight, while the ocean still defeats humanity? Today, we will conduct a full investigation into the greatest technological failure of our civilization. To understand the sheer scale of our blindness, let's look at a simple comparison. If you open Google Maps and check the terrain of Mars, you can see every mountain, every crack, and every dried-up riverbed. Satellites have scanned the red planet inside out. But if you toggle the ocean floor terrain mode on Earth, understand this. What you are seeing is an illusion. Those are not actual photos, nor are they laser scans. It is a mathematical model constructed based on gravitational anomalies. Simply put, we only know where mountains are on the ocean floor because their mass slightly pulls the water toward them on the surface. The actual margin of error on these maps is measured in kilometers. We literally do not know what lies beneath that multi-kilometer mass of water, a flat abyssal plain, or an active supervolcano primed to explode. We are blind on our own home planet. The first and most fundamental problem with exploring the ocean is crushing physical pressure. Engineers who design spacecraft deal with a vacuum. In open space, the pressure differential between the inside of the ISS and the freezing void is exactly 1 atmosphere. Even a relatively thin layer of aluminum and Kevlar can handle that. An astronaut's spacesuit is essentially just a heavy-duty inflatable suit. In the ocean, physics plays against us with sadistic cruelty. Water is incredibly heavy and virtually incompressible. Every 10 meters of depth adds exactly 1 atmosphere of pressure. At a depth of 4 kilometers, where the wreckage of the Titanic rests, the pressure sits at roughly 400 atmospheres. That is 400 kilograms of force pressing down on every single square centimeter of the hull. At this depth, any structure experiences a force equivalent to having a fully loaded freight train carefully parked on top of it. And what if we descend into the Hadal zone, into the deep-sea trenches, down to the 10 to 11 kilometer mark? There, the pressure surges past 1,100 atmospheres. Imagine an adult African elephant trying to balance its entire weight on your big toe, or a force equivalent to the weight of 50 Boeing 747 passenger jets pressing down on every single square meter of a submersible. This kind of environmental physics leaves zero room for error. If a spacecraft experiences decompression, the crew has a few minutes to don spacesuits or seal the breach. The air escapes relatively slowly. In the deep ocean, the exact opposite occurs: implosion, an inward-directed explosion. If a deep-sea vehicle's hull suffers from even microscopic metal fatigue, an invisible hairline fracture, or a welding defect, the water breaches that defense at the speed of sound. The hull collapses inward in 1 to 2 milliseconds. The human brain physically doesn't have enough time to even process a pain signal. The crew dies before they can comprehend what is happening.
The ocean punishes technological arrogance with instantaneous death.
Fine. If sending humans to the bottom is so hazardous, why not deploy thousands of automated drones? After all, Mars rovers and lunar landers work perfectly well without a crew. We control robots on other planets via radio communications. And here, we hit the second fundamental problem of the ocean: its absolute opacity to electromagnetic waves. Water is an ideal shield. It blocks almost every form of radiation that humanity relies on for communication and navigation. High-frequency radio waves, Wi-Fi, cellular signals, GPS navigation, and even LiDAR laser beams die out in seawater almost instantly, within a few meters or even centimeters of the surface. Sunlight is completely absorbed by the ocean at a depth of 200 meters. Everything below that is a realm of absolute primordial darkness. The James Webb Space Telescope can see galaxies billions of light years away because light travels through a vacuum completely unobstructed. But underwater, even the most powerful spotlight on a deep-sea robot can only cut through the darkness for 10 to 15 meters at best. Beyond that, the light hits a wall of suspended organic particles that oceanographers call marine snow. A robot in the ocean is a blind robot. How do you control a machine when radio waves don't work and you are surrounded by total darkness? The only way to send a command to a depth of 5 kilometers is to tether the robot with a heavy-duty steel cable carrying fiber optics inside. Imagine a research vessel keeping a multi-ton robot on a leash using a cable that is 6 to 8 kilometers long. This cable experiences colossal tension from its own weight and undersea currents. If it catches on an underwater cliff or a piece of jagged rock, tens of millions of dollars worth of equipment will remain on the seafloor forever. The ocean completely isolates itself from our radio waves.
But what if physics and the absence of light are merely an official cover story? What if the real reason behind our isolation from the ocean floor is not scientific, but a strictly classified military and geopolitical agenda? Right now, thousands of miles of fiber optic cables are laid across the floor of the world's oceans. This is the nervous system of our civilization. They carry 99% of all global internet traffic, financial transactions, and classified government communications between continents. If those cables were to be severed simultaneously tomorrow, the global economy would collapse within hours. And here is a fact that is rarely spoken aloud. The world's leading superpowers, the United States, China, and Russia, spend billions of dollars on deep-sea programs, not to study rare species of jellyfish or locate underwater volcanoes. The ocean floor is a zone for an invisible, potential Third World War. Military agencies deliberately block and classify detailed maps of ocean topography. Why? So that their strategic nuclear submarines can navigate through underwater canyons undetected, using them as cloaking environments. Oceanographic vessels are frequently cover identities for spy ships. The abyss harbors secrets that militaries refuse to show the world.
During the Cold War, the United States conducted a top-secret mission called Operation of Okhotsk right inside a restricted Soviet military zone and tapped into a classified Soviet Navy communications cable. For years, the Soviet Union had no idea that their internal encrypted messages were being read in Washington. Today, this game has become even vaster and more hazardous. Any detailed seafloor scanning by civilian scientists could accidentally expose the locations of classified hydroacoustic tracking networks resting on the bottom to detect enemy submarines. Because of this, vast swaths of the ocean are officially off-limits for detailed scientific mapping. Science takes a backseat to hard national security here. We do not know the ocean because we are simply not allowed to know it.
Let's look back at engineering. Suppose a scientist secures a budget, receives clearance to conduct research, and gets a hull designed to withstand 1,000 atmospheres. The vehicle lowers into the water. And right there, the very chemistry of the ocean begins to destroy it. Seawater is not just a fluid.
It is an ultra-aggressive chemical solution, a perfect electrolyte. It is heavily saturated with salts, minerals, and dissolved oxygen. The moment metal contacts this environment, galvanic corrosion kicks in. The ocean literally begins dissolving the vehicle. A space vacuum is sterile. It contains no corrosive acids or salts that can eat away at a ship's hull. A spacecraft can cruise through the void for decades, like the Voyager probes, and its body will remain practically pristine. In the ocean, any piece of machinery begins to degrade the very second it breaks the water's surface.
Yet chemical attacks are not the only threat. The abyss deploys biological sabotage against researchers. This phenomenon is known as biofouling. In the ocean, life is everywhere. Miles down, billions of microorganisms, bacteria, deep-sea crustaceans, and mollusks thrive. Lower an expensive temperature sensor, a pressure gauge, or a laser scanner into the water, and within just a few weeks, its surface will be coated in a dense bacterial film. Barnacles and deep-sea organisms colonize any artificial surface. They jam robotic manipulators, blind optical instruments, and ruin high-precision machinery. The ocean literally attempts to swallow and digest everything humanity creates.
And yet, humanity has overcome equivalent hardships whenever it was truly motivated. We built the Large Hadron Collider, designed nuclear fusion reactors, and launched telescopes into Lagrange points. Why can't the entire planet pool its resources and finally map our oceans? The answer is cynical and simple: money. Or more specifically, the lack of immediate commercial profit. Space programs are an easy sell to taxpayers and investors. Space is romantic. It offers beautiful, glossy images of distant nebulae, the grand vision of colonizing Mars, and the idea of saving humanity from a dying sun. Space inspires.
The ocean cannot be sold this way. Deep-sea research in science pop reports looks like a gray, drab expanse of mud caught in the dim headlights of a robot against a backdrop of endless dark. There are no breathtaking vistas here. Big business only pours money into projects that offer instant returns. Oil and gas corporations fund continental shelf research, but their interest stops dead at a depth of 2 to 3 kilometers, where it remains technically feasible to extract hydrocarbons. Anything deeper, the abyssal plains, the permafrost zones, and the Hadal trenches, yields no immediate dividends. Consequently, deep-sea science is funded as an afterthought. While space agencies operate with tens of billions of dollars, oceanographers are left practically begging for grants just to rent a single research vessel for a couple of weeks. Our civilization chose to look up, deliberately ignoring what lies directly beneath its feet.
Yet, the paradox of our high-tech age is that exploring the ocean is critically important for human survival right now. It is far more vital than searching for lifeless rocks on Mars. The ocean is the primary engine driving our planet's climate. It absorbs over 90% of excess heat and colossal volumes of carbon dioxide, preventing Earth from falling into a global thermal collapse. In the ocean depths, around hydrothermal vents, unique organisms synthesize protein under conditions of extreme radiation, toxicity, and heat. Studying their DNA could provide us with cures for diseases that are currently considered terminal. The ocean is not just a body of salt water that gets in the way of us traveling between continents. It is a vast, alien, inhabited cosmos right here on our planet. And while we spend trillions trying to reach distant, dead stars, the abyss beneath our feet waits patiently for us to finally find our courage, overcome the physics of the environment, rip away the shrouds of secrecy, and gaze into our own mirror. What do you think humanity should prioritize with its core resources? Colonizing other planets, or saving and studying our own ocean? Write your thoughts in the comments. It is vital for the discussion. Drop a like if this hour-long documentary forced you to look at our planet in a new light. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next massive investigations. Take care of yourselves, and see you on the next frontiers of science.